Give the call to the honourable member for Bean.
Speaker, my question is to the Deputy Prime Minister. Following today's release of the Australian Signals Directorate's annual cyber threat report for 2022-23, what action is the Albanese Labor government taking to meet these threats, and why is this required after a wasted decade in defence?
Call to the Minister for Defence and the Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, I thank the member for his question. And today, the Australian Signals Directorate released its annual cyber threat report, and what it shows is that there is a worsening cyber threat for our country. We're seeing an increase in cyber crime. We're also seeing an increase in the interest of state actors in our critical infrastructure, including our defence, and that includes an increase in the interest in our work on acquiring a nuclear-powered submarine capability under the banner of AUKUS. And what this requires is an improvement in our defence, in our cyber defence capability, which is what we are doing through the Australian Signals Directorate. But this task has been made so much harder by the mess that has been left to us by the Leader of the Opposition. When the Leader of the Opposition announced an increase in our cyber capability in March of last year, there was an $8 billion hole. Big announcement without the money to back it up, just as there was an announcement for $35 billion for guided weapons, but only $1 billion was allocated. Big on the fanfare, light on the substance, because those opposite weren't doing defence policy, they were just running an advertising agency, which is what they literally did on the 4th of January in 2020, when at the height of the worst bushfires in our country's history, they used the Australian Defence Force to cut an ad to raise money for the Liberal Party. Now, this government is making the difficult decisions to prioritise defence spending on where it's needed the most, and that definitely includes our cyber capacity. But we also understand that what that also requires is an increase in our spending on defence, and that actually stands in stark contrast to those opposite. Back in May of this year, the Shadow Treasurer said, and I quote, "The defence budget should be within the envelope that's already been established." That was the Shadow Minister. That was the Shadow Treasurer. And last week, the Shadow Minister for Defence backed that in when he said, "I can't commit to increased spending." When it comes to those opposite and it comes to defence, you'll get hoopla, you will get singing and you will get dancing, but you will not get an extra dollar for defence. Well, this government is taking defence spending to 2.3% of GDP over the next 10 years, and that is a 10% increase in the spending trajectory on defence that we inherited from those opposite, because we are committed to making the difficult decisions to keep Australians safe.